It's my pleasure to welcome all of you to this important panel discussion on enhancing maritime awareness in South Asia. And also we probably will discuss the challenges and inter-agency collaboration as a specific title. As we gather here today, we recognize that the maritime domain is a very complex and dynamic environment, because that was very evident with the previous presentations that we have witnessed. Essentially, the maritime domain awareness is not only for regional security, but also for the economic growth. And also that protects the environment, so as the international cooperation. Sustainability too, environmental sustainability and the environmental protection. As all of you know, that the oceans have always been a source of trade, livelihood and security for nations across the world is very much important. And very briefly, the MDA, Maritime Domain Awareness, is, in layman language, is to know what is happening in and around the oceans of our interest area. So in this context, without any further ado, I would rather invite to provide us with valuable insight on the MDA information sharing. I'm honored to invite Dr. Nivedita Ray, Director of Research at the Indian Council of World Affairs and member of the Indian Ocean Rim Association Group. Dr. Ray, in your research studies, have you ever come across, did you ever find out the maritime domain awareness systems in different countries? I'm talking about the different countries, organizations, whether those MDA platforms can, whether they amalgamate and to make it available as an integrated system for better information sharing.
Show you, this is one of the current research that we have done on maritime domain awareness. These copies are there. When you talk of maritime domain awareness, I think most importantly, the focus of course remain information sharing. But we all know that regional cooperation is very important, and each country is doing their contributions to MDA. Our research shows that, information sharing today is a big challenge when it comes, because there's a lot of overload of information that comes, and how do you avoid this overlapping? And that is the reason why when we see that Indian Ocean region is a big canvas. So why do we not build sub-regional frameworks to understand this? Within sub-regional frameworks, if you set up fusion centers and build those fusion build the capacity and capability of those fusion centers to focus on that particular region to get information, and then analyze and then share it with other fusion centers. So there will be a maritime domain network which you would be able to build. And when we are looking at from our research we did on the Indo-Pacific region, and we saw that Indo-Pacific region, there are already certain mechanisms already in place. First of all, how would you bring these mechanisms together? That is a Djibouti Code of Conduct, that is CMF, that is many other ways and frameworks that has already been placed. So each framework are contributing to research, but how do you build all these networks together in order to consolidate a good or develop a good maritime domain awareness network, which is key.
Thank you, Dr. Ray. So it's evident through the presentations that you have witnessed, the MDA looks so simple, but then it's a very complex situation analysis. And also, for the maritime domain awareness, it is the safety of the sea and security through technologies like coastal surveillance systems, then the vessel traffic management, and the satellite tracking, and so on and so forth. So there are many, many systems, technologies, all are involved in these, bringing up a picture in MDA. I would like to bring up a very specific thing today, is because the new initiative by the IMO, International Maritime Organization, effective from January 2024, that is the single maritime window. So with the single maritime window, it's an information dashboard to streamline maritime data exchange, and also the system enhances operational efficiency by facilitating real-time communication between ships, ports, maritime stakeholders, authorities, and also the effective collaboration into the information that has to be shared upon the need-to-know basis. So in this context, we have a senior officer from the Sri Lanka Navy, actually, who is on the job about the maritime surveillance, and he is Lieutenant Commander Talagala, who is into the maritime surveillance of the Fusion Center of Sri Lanka Navy. So this question is for Lieutenant Commander Talagala. Will you be able to tell us the duties that relate to your department? How effectively Sri Lanka into the most important task, that is maritime surveillance and also maritime awareness in the Indian Ocean region? You may retain whatever the sensitive information. I'm just asking a general purview.
Thank you, Chair, and all the gathering. Good morning, all of you. I am Lieutenant Commander Talagala from Directorate of Naval Operation from Sri Lanka Navy, and I'm happy to be here, sir. So first of all, I would like to take approach with it is need not to say that Sri Lanka, the strategic location of the country is very important because of the trade flow which is close to Sri Lanka. And being an island nation, of course, as our Maldives counterpart explained, we also do have a number of threats and challenges that we are facing day to day. And there are a number of threats, challenges that we anticipate which will be increased and which will be expand into some unknown in the future as well, sir. So if we take our maritime domain, so we do have extended coastal belt around the Sri Lanka as island nation, and we do have EEZ of somewhat like 8 times of the land, and then we do have search and rescue region, approx 25 to 27 times of the land. So managing all these maritime domain and especially ensuring the maritime domain awareness, it's not an easy task for even being the Sri Lanka Navy or the military part of the country. So the main the existing challenges that we are facing, if we go into right now, we do have which come up at the very top right now. It's going together. Is one is the IUU fishing and the contraband trafficking. So we do see the uprising of IUU fishing in different part of the country, especially our northern part, and then the increase of contraband trafficking. As previous few presentation, it was explained that how well the coordination happened, the arresting of the drug trafficking vessels by the Indian Navy and by the Maldives Coast Guard as well. So apart from that, we do seek challenges in not only the above water, it is underwater. So as recent things came up, you know, sir, there is uprising of damages to the underwater power lines and the submarine cables. So as an island nation and our total communication infrastructure right now rely on a couple of submarine cables which is connected from the Colombo as well as from the down south in the Matar area. So those things we do seek as challenges, and again there is a increase of, as mentioned, the illicit migration as well. So for these challenges, as Sri Lanka Navy, there are a couple of steps that we have taken. As the staff belongs to the maritime surveillance, there are certain steps that we have taken to counter these challenges. As the Sri Lanka Navy, I can say we do have extensive coverage of our coastal belt, that is the surveillance network of some sort of radars, the communication networks, or the AIS, or same sort of technology to observe and identify whatever the vessels movement or the craft movement in and around our waters. So what we expect from there is that identify and divide who are the good actors. Of course, this is a free trade maritime flow which is going around in Sri Lanka. So we have to identify who are from the good guys, and we have to separate them from the whatever the small amount of bad actors which hide between them. So in that we do have the extended surveillance network, and I can say that with the assistance of a couple of agencies and some foreign countries, that we do seek to enhance the capabilities of the surveillance network in near future as well, and some projects are ongoing. And then we do have couple of entities. We can say there was a question that previously asked, what are the right now, what are the available means which the information can be shared from our country to the international level. So one I can say is that in 2022, with the assistance of the UNODC and the funding of Japan, we established our Information Fusion Center in right at here in the Colombo our naval headquarters. So I can say that was a milestone where the Sri Lanka could have its own center, where starting from the national level information collection and the analyzing, disseminating of those information to the international or the regional entities. So we, as the Navy, taking the lead in the Information Fusion Center, we maintain it and they operate it 24/7, and of course we do work with the India, the Information Fusion Center, Indian Ocean region. Right now even we do have our liaison officer there in the information, the IFC-IOR, and then we work with the IFC Singapore and the IFC which is in the Madagascar RMIFC. So it is, I have to say, there are a couple of regional, the IFCs. So as a Sri Lanka, what we focus right now is managing our own space, our national information gathering, and how well we can coordinate our information, and how well we can coordinate with those information and with the information flow with the other regional entities. So apart from the IFC-IOR, IFC Colombo, we do have the Maritime Rescue Coordination Center. So we can say IFC is working on the information. So Maritime Rescue Coordination is, the sole purpose is to ensure the maritime safety in this region. With the, I can again say there is a great collaboration with the India. We do, we get the funding and the assistance to develop our Maritime Rescue Coordination Center. With that assistance, right now the MRCC Maritime Rescue Coordination Center Colombo is working 24/7 right at here in the Colombo. So it ensures the safety of our region. So apart from that, as you said, sir, how the technology intervened for the maritime domain awareness. So when we go for the technology, I can say there are, the world has seen...
May I interrupt a little? So it's very good that you enhance us on our role, the Sri Lanka Navy's role regarding the MDA. So, and when looking in my purview, when we're talking about the maritime domain awareness, it's always about predictable versus unpredictable. So you can't predict what is your maritime domain awareness unless otherwise you have enough informations and confirmations. So thereby unpredictable are the things that we have to be always concerned upon. So in this context, when you talk about the unpredictables, and today traditionally, when you say MDA, it is always maritime domain means we consider that the waters away from the coast. But of course, there are maritime domain awareness is not only about the ocean affairs, but also, in my opinion, I reckon the stakeholders, joining parts, the shipping agencies, people, the port authorities, port security, ISPS, all whatnots of all, everything is included. So in that context, there are a lot of systems. In my knowledge of my reading, I understood the piece, it is a PCS, Port Community System. So there are different kind of systems that supports, integrate, and let those information be aware, be available for need-to-know basis and to the required agencies without duplicating, sending different reports and documents. The minimalization of the documentation, I reckon those systems. Will you be able to tell us something about similar systems?
So of course, sir, because with the emerging technology, I said the maritime domain awareness, it will be the, how we look at to the future will be how well we can manage the available information and whatever the information flow which is coming into and going out. So how well we can manage this big data concepts. So managing this information, let's say as a Sri Lanka Navy, we do have number of assets. So the information coming from the surveillance asset, whatever our coastal belt or whatever our deployment by our crafts. So when those informations comes, there should be a way to assess these things and come into a common platform where this information comes. So this is not only the military or the law enforcement. As island nation, where our port infrastructure right now booming, so the Sri Lanka expect to increase our port infrastructure, create a great free maritime, free trade flow in and around the Sri Lanka. So in there is a much of an opportunity to build up, as you said, the port community system. So which will be something like a collective system where whatever the community which belongs to the port, let's say the port authority, the customs, the whatever the suppliers who supply their services through the port, and the ship handlers, so all those entities get together in a common information sharing platform where the whatever the port operations are managed through that system. The people some sort of log into one system and they can obtain the information, take decisions, and the free flow of commerce is happening with real-time information sharing, gathering, and the disseminating. So that, I think that is what we have to go and look into the future when our things are getting increasing. So it is not that we can do all these things manually. So other than, let's say, if we can build our system up to that, it is not only the trade which gets improved or the free trade flow. So the security also can be increased along with that, because then when we have something like a PCS, which is the port community system, where there is a good amount of data concerning the maritime flow, and we can connect those data into whatever the surveillance or the military law enforcement information intelligence, and couple these things together, we can create a good amount of intelligence and the observation concerning identifying the bad actors from the whatever the good which is there. So amalgamating this all the information into a common platform and making some sort of a recognized maritime picture. So that will be the necessity of the future, and that's how we can go from this step and to the next level along with the technological advancement.
Thank you very much, Lafangkaman Talagala. So now we have Major Azim Sharif, Head of Military Instructions Department, College of Defense and Security Studies of Maldives National Defence Force. I think I have the opportunity of asking him about the menace of drug trafficking and also about the international organized crimes, and just what you be able to tell us of the present trend of the drug trafficking and also the international organized crimes happening in and around our region.
Thank you very much, sir. As I have discussed in the presentation, things have changed. The drug traffickers and the key controllers of these traffickers are also very much advanced. And I think the more we disclose the information, the better it would be. Because we need to show, make them know, the people who are doing the wrongs, that we know what you are doing. We are waiting for the right time. That can only be proven if we try to disseminate our information that we have gathered and share it among ourselves, among the agencies, in the timely manner. So this is not happening actually in the real context. We do share the information from the fusion centers or some other places, but it is not timely driven. Timely driven takes a lot of actions in the diplomatic level as well as in the operational level. These things need to be legalized or can be done through MOUs between the countries of interest, that we need certain things, certain regulations to be bended to get to the real nefarious elements in the region. And this can only be done, what I think is, if we start publishing to somehow, to some extent. I know both our countries, Sri Lanka, Maldives especially, being a tourist nation, tourism-based nation, some information are very sensitive. It may affect our economy as well. Economic security is there that hinders the operational environment that we need. So, are we going to let the criminals take charge of our economy in this manner? That is something that we have to know. Or are we going to disclose their facts and get over with it? If we try one move, they make 3 moves. Or shall we be the one who makes the first move to apprehending these activities? So this can only be done sharing timely informations. Also, as you know, as per the UNCLOS, that we have some jurisdictions in our different waters, like territorial waters, contagious zone. Are we exercising enough in our territorial waters? But do we need more than that? Yes. I'm afraid we need, because it is now more than 12 and 200 nautical miles and beyond. At least we could suggest or send regionally or the country-wise to the IMO regarding these transnational crimes, it can only be given an extension beyond 12 nautical miles if we could get our boarding teams without any legal issue to apprehend the vessels. There could be some legal bindings, but these things can be, if we have got 12 nautical miles without any power, we can do such common crimes like drug trafficking and these things. Why not we give for the 24 nautical miles or beyond? Because this is time we should put forward this to the concerned authorities, the IMO, as well as UNODC could play a direct role in this, I think. That's all.
Thank you. And even though you explain about the menace of the drug trafficking and drug issues, the drug cartels, dons, and people involved in the organized crimes are being sheltered in and around some of the South Asian countries and also some of the Middle East countries, because it was evident through the media and most of the media releases, we were able to understand that those cartels were sheltered, knowing or unknowingly. So in this context, what could be the strategy that to let those countries aware of these criminals and their wrongdoings, and then to have some collaboration method of expatriations?
This is where I just want to ask Doctor that you have mentioned in your paper why we are overlapping data. Because the network is overlapping. Because the criminal network is overlapping, everyone needs to have this data so that we are all aware. I'm sure the research you have done could have found a better way to connect these things, even though sub-centers can be done, but everybody is ready to collect the info, but the giving part is having some issues. So addressing the dons of this drug and other criminal activities who are acting, they have got some protection, either politically or by other powers. So we need to understand the core and the geopolitical tension within the region to understand this context. So I would say that as the doctor has mentioned, that we should have different each country-based fusion centers, and that also is very essential, that if we know what we are doing, we can be able to take what is unknown, because we are going to tackle the unknown and the unknown. Some are known and unknown, but now we are going to tackle unknown and known, because hybrid threat is there. It is connected very much to the drug cartels that is moving around, which is creating the opportunity for maritime terrorism, which we don't want to see the end state of. Thank you.
Thank you, Asif. And now we have the time to talk about the most important, probably the subject per se, that is the maritime pollution or maritime environment protection. So to talk about generally about the maritime environmental protection, its legal instruments, and how best the protection of maritime environment supports the trade and economy of the economy and the environment of a country. We have here the Captain Rasool Rahman from Bangladesh Navy. Over to you, Captain Rahman.
Honorable Chair and esteemed gathering. I'm Captain Reza from Bangladesh Navy, and at first I would like to thank Geopolitical Cartographer and the Embassy of Japan for arranging such a time-intensive and befitting Maritime Domain Awareness seminar. and arranging such a diverse crowd here with so much of esteemed people. So coming back to the question that he has posed, actually Bangladesh was one of the pioneers to embrace the idea of blue economy, that is sustainable maritime economy. Soon after, in 2012, United Nations declared this concept of blue economy, and in 2014, Bangladesh hosted the first international conference on blue economy. And members of the countries of the IORA, many of your compatriots, attended that meeting. So during that meeting, it was discussed that the sustainable maritime economy is the future, and we have to look into it, and we have to address it. And based on that, Bangladesh also attended a National Blue Economy Initiative and a strategic action plan. But unfortunately, when we went on ground, we saw that situation is quite different. So what happened? Bangladesh Navy, there was a dedicated ship since 2016. So there is a dedicated ship who is deployed only for sustainable maritime economy activities to ensure the security, to promote sustainability. But on ground, I also had that opportunity as commanding officer of Navy ship to go and assist those things. And I found that people on ground, they do not know what is called sustainability. The fishermen, they do not know what is called sustainable fishing. The coastal people, they know that they are being adversely affected by global pollution, by disasters and other things, but they do not know. So at that time, we have understood that without addressing marine pollution, it would be difficult, or if not impossible, to address the idea of sustainable maritime economy. And as a result, Bangladesh deeply involved into marine pollution and what to do with the marine pollution. So first of all, for the sustainable fishing, what we did, we have imposed a 65-day fishing ban during the breeding period of the fishes. We have also introduced marine protected areas. We have already 4 marine protected areas, and the government has a plan to enhance further. But the issue is that it is one thing to declare it. It is another thing to enforce it. For enforcement, we need cooperation, we need assistance, and above all, we need awareness from all people on ground. Our fishermen, our coastal people, they do not know much about it. So how to go about that? So for that reason, the government has been trying hard to make sure the awareness about marine pollution is there in Bangladesh. But again, there is another issue. So say, for example, in Bangladesh, we have done everything right. We have done everything that is necessary and possible to ensure prevent marine pollution and ensure maritime protection of marine environment. But our neighboring country does everything in the other way around. So will it be effective? No, because the ocean is only one. The Bay of Bengal, the Indian Ocean, it is only one. So we need a collective effort from all these countries to address this problem, this marine pollution. So how to go about that and what to do? So we need to know that this is only one planet, and there is only one, though we say is Indian Ocean, but all the oceans are related. So it is actually one sea, one ocean. So it should be a global approach, and it should be at only national approach cannot be effective. So IORA can be a good platform to start with that. And IORA has done a commendable job. During the last meeting that took place in Dhaka in 2022, that's ministerial meeting, this IORA ministerial meeting, Dhaka communique, that actually made 3 points that was also highlighted by His Excellency, the Ambassador of Japan. Enhance maritime safety, boost connectivity, and foster economic development. So if we want to fulfill all these things, especially for enhanced maritime safety and enforce economic development, we cannot but to ensure that marine pollution is being catered. And so prevent this marine pollution, what we can do, how to go about. We have to think about it, we have to get into it, and we have to make sure that effective measures are being found out and being implemented. So one thing is that this part, especially in Indian Ocean region, we have people from very diverse, 3 continents, people who is rich and who have very sparse population, abundance of resources. On the other hand, we have abundance of people, but scarce resources. So we need to have a collective effort, effort that can ensure that marine pollution is being addressed. Because if we do not address marine pollution, it is said by 2050, there will be more plastic in the ocean than the number of fishes. So if we want an ocean like that, then we don't have to do anything. But I'm sure none of this Indian Ocean, this Rim Association countries want that. So for the protection of ourselves, for the protection of next generation, we must address these marine pollution issues. And to address this marine pollution, the first and foremost thing is awareness. So there had been quite a lot of seminars, including this one, to ensure awareness. But one thing is having awareness about within the policymakers, which is of course very important, but without the awareness of the people on ground, those who are fishing, those who are working on the coastal areas, it may not be effective. So I would suggest and request all of us who are present here, so we should make sure that marine pollution is not something many people think, it is something of the distant future. So our generation will pass by. Well, maybe our generation might pass by, I'm not so sure, but certainly our sons and daughters, our grandsons and granddaughters will not be able to cater a world where marine pollution continues like that. So we need to put a full stop to this marine pollution. If not, we can put a full stop, we at least need to reduce it. And for that reason, we all have to work collectively, and we should work together so that we can achieve that.
Thank you, Captain Rahman. As you very well said, its duty to prevent, reduce, and control pollution of the marine environment is well explained under the Article 194 UNCLOS United Nations Law of the Sea. About the marine pollution, in Sri Lanka recent past, we had few experiences with the New Diamond as well as Express Pearl. You may have heard through the media and also in the news, etc., about about the intensity of the disaster. And some of the things that have happened would have been prevented, or preemptive action would have been taken to stop. So most of the maritime accidents happens because not paying due respects to the due diligence. So not paying the due diligence as well as taking the ships in unseaworthiness manner for prolonged voyages, that probably prone into those disasters, which would have been prevented much earlier without making damage to the environment. So there are a lot of legal instruments, international legal instruments as well as the local instruments, but I don't know, am I right to ask that question? But then in the audience we have our former Navy Commander, Admiral U.M.P. Perra, who is a scholar of University of Wollongong, who has done the Maritime Law and Policy degree, Masters. So, Commander, will you be able to tell us about the legal instruments and the maritime environmental protection legal instruments, and how basic that can be helped to prevent the environmental pollution? Can someone give a...
Thank you very much for putting me in trouble.
Welcome.
Yes, along with UNCLOS, there are a number of other instruments, international instruments that the state parties are party to, and the IMO also ensures that unlike a decade back or two decades back, now insisting on preserving the maritime environment, mainly the sea dumping. Similarly, there used to be ships that are passing, just dumping residues of what you clean, what you call the bilges and all. Today we have very strict policies right around to bring actionable levels to prosecute them, whether in your own country or an export of coal. So very much effective. Similarly, the instruments that insisting on shipping, unlike few decades back, now the technologies, you have to adopt that into your shipping. So it prevents the ship's-borne pollution is prevented, and it has come on sustainable, the UN sustainable, the points, goals, one key aspect. So we have so much of legal instruments on those aspects. And you were talking about the Law of the Sea Convention, alone the part that the architects of the law of the sea, the point was that, they have left so much for interpretation. So now the coastal states interpret it in their own ways to get the best advantage of that. For example, leaving the pollution aside, let's take some of the security concern issues. Innocent passage, let's say, for the military vessels. Who's to say that the military vessels are not acquiring information about the particular territorial sea when they are taking the innocent passage? Who's to say that on the high seas, the exclusive economic zone is it is high seas for freedom of navigation. So when a ship passes or a ocean hydrographic vessel passes, who's to say that it is not accumulating information? There are so much, and the countries define them the way they want, and Sri Lanka has certain way of limiting that. The India also has, the other countries has those things. So that's the answer for your question. I have another observation, maybe that I will come later on Dr. Rai's presentation. I hope that I'll get another opportunity later on.
Thank you. Thank you. There are many other areas where we could think of talking about, as the commander former commander very well explained. But then like countries like us being the dualist countries, the international law not becoming our own law unless otherwise it's been ratified at the parliament. So we are dualist countries, and some of the best legal instruments that have come out, like the London Protocol, kind of most important legal instruments that are not being ratified yet, thereby we are under disadvantage. So when that happens, only you realize how dangerous and how difficult and what are the dangerous effects that are coming into once a maritime accident or maritime pollution that has happened intentionally or unintentionally. So thereby we all have to look on and to take maximum precautions and preventions. So the best prevention is strengthening the legal approach, having very tough rules into why the ships in Australia going into Australian waters, they are very concerned and careful. Even the ballistic water, they are not just, the ballasts are not able to discharge. There are various other means and methods. So because of the stringent legal approach. So the tough legal approach, legal instruments, and the best legal practices has to be introduced to prevent this is my opinion, to prevent the environmental pollutions or marine environmental pollution. So I think because of the time constraint, we'll be able to limit our discussion, but I will let each and every one, the four of you, to say at least about 1 minute, to as brief as much, to tell us the last comments, or probably as your last comments. And after this, we will wind up, and then we will wind up for the lunch. And then may I request those who are involved in the VBSS demonstration, please contact our CEO and also the concerned people for your administrative and transport, etc., etc. So we'll start with Dr. Nivedita.
Thank you, Chair. I want to just emphasize the fact that the kind of challenges that we face in the maritime domain requires regional cooperation as a very important aspect, and in that maritime domain network is how to build a robust maritime domain network. That's what should be a key emphasis. And in this context, I would say that at the national level, while we give importance of building information hubs, even in the national level, there is a lot of cooperation within the agencies because there are numerous agencies within the national level. For instance, in India, we have like so many maritime institutes dealing with fishing, shipping, coastal. So there's a need for consolidating your information apparatus within the country, and also setting up regional fusion centers. And how would you build that network at a sub-region level is very important. And of course, capacity building and trust. And I would say there are regional frameworks already in place. So multilateral approach frameworks should be given priority, and within that MDA, how would we devise protocols within that frameworks remains important.
I must also very much agree with Dr. Nimansa, who has spoken very profoundly about this. Considering Maldives also in the region as a key player, I would say that we also have difficulties in gathering internal information, since we are also in the virtue of building the IFC. So I think once we get the IFC collaborated internal, our national level, we can have the fusion center, and as well as we can have a joint collaboration with Sri Lanka, as well as currently we are receiving information on a weekly or monthly basis through IFC-IOR India. So like that, and also Singapore, we can, for the regional IFC, we can get the training. So like that, if we are all network people get together in different forums and discuss this, we can come up with good solutions to mitigate these maritime crimes that I have spoken. And most importantly is the timely manner sharing, as well as legal framework, which needs to be strong and flexible to the operational contexts.
Thank you. Captain Rahman?
So I would say that marine pollution, it is not something of the distant future. It had been happening since time immemorial, and the recent past, it has actually gone beyond imagination. So time is ticking. We need to act. We need to act immediately, and we need to act collectively. So my earnest request to all those present here, so let us act collectively and let us act immediately to make sure that we have a safe, sustainable, and peaceful Indian Ocean region for generations to come.
Thank you. Lieutenant Commander Rahman. Talagala.
So, as a final remarks, what I have to say is that when considering the maritime domain, so with this vast domain, what we all have to understand is that we need to have some sort of holistic approach. So it is not that we can treat or care about one entity or one simple thing as a single matter. If we take the pollution, it is not only the pollution, it is connected with the trade, and maybe it is connected with the safety or the security. So first of all, I think we need to have some sort of a holistic approach, and the view that we see things in a collective manner. And there onwards, so with this domain having so many actors, always it is the scarcity of the resources. So for that, that's why I think these sort of conferences and the workshops matter, because it need to foster the collaboration among whoever the actors, maybe it is national or the international or the regional. So we need to come to a certain understanding that it is always better to go forward with a collaboration among whatever the actors in the maritime domain. So the other aspect, I think, it is that the embracing of the technology. So this is not a domain where you can do things as we have done maybe a couple of decades ago. The technology is changing, the whatever the good actors or the bad actors, they all have access to whatever the technology advancement right now available. It may be artificial intelligence to the big data to the whatever the surveillance or the GPS spoofing or whatever the technology, which may be good for certain actors, which may be bad for others. So it is up to us to approach this in a collective manner, go as a collective front, and with the embracing of the new technology and the technological advancement to make a better, to have a better maritime domain awareness as well as the better future.
Thank you. So finally, it's the collaboration and collective approach that makes the MDA more effective. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have the former Defence Minister and a National Security Advisor of Maldives here with us. So your presence, we honor your presence, and thank you very much for coming in. Ladies and gentlemen, finally, may I request all of you to give a round of applause to the 4 wonderful panelists for enlightening us.